your host for another episode of CAM TV, and along beside of me is my dear friend Jennifer down in Austin, Texas. Today we're going to be talking with the Will Todd, the master of Tomcat Trust, as well as James Thomas Trust. Will is the current COO of Tomcat and is actually the unofficial CEO since the departure of their current president. Will has he's actually doing both both roles. Will, how you doing today?
I'm good, Dave. How are you? Jennifer, how are you? It's nice to meet you.
It's really nice to meet you too.
We have a good time doing these episodes, and we hope we don't embarrass nobody, but that's not a guarantee. Like I said, Jennifer, she's in Austin, Texas, and we were talking before the show that she was from northern Michigan and got tired of the snow, so she ended up down south. Will, where'd you originate from?
Well, it's kind of funny. Anytime anybody asks me that, I always tell people I was born in Mexico, but I was actually born in Mexico, Missouri, which is a little town kind of, I guess, northeast of Columbia. Very small community. So I lived there, I guess, until about the second grade, and then we moved to Las Cruces, New Mexico, and spent a couple of years in Las Cruces, and then moved to Sierra Vista, Arizona, which is, I guess, the most famous place around Sierra Vista is Tombstone, Arizona. It's about 15 miles away from. So that's kind of what I consider home, because that's where I, went to high school and graduated, and before I went off to the University of Arizona after that. So I still consider Arizona home, but Mexico, Missouri is where I was born.
Is that we all miss each other and we're trying to connect and we crave connection.
Sure.
And that's what the CAN is all about, and kind of getting back to our communities. And I know in the entertainment industry, it's so huge that you become like family. And I know that that's missing right now. And so our signature question that we ask everybody, and so I'll ask you, Will, is what does community mean to you?
Sure. Well, I think if you look at community is really a group of people that all kind of have similar interests. So, in the entertainment industry, we all have the community interest of enjoying the entertainment, enjoying the reactions that we get on the people's faces that either come to the show or come to a concert or something, is kind of, being in a positive environment. People want to be entertained, which when they're entertained, they're happy. For the most part, depending on your show, I guess. But they want to be happy, they want to be entertained. And I think that makes that community of people that bring all of that together really helps bond us as a family together, which really makes us a very unique industry in the entertainment industry. We're kind of niche, we're very small, but the people that are in it, especially the people that are in these walls here at Tomcat with me, is I really consider all of them an extension of my personal family, not just coworkers and not just people that we all get along with. So I think for me, that's kind of all encompassing community in the little world that we live in entertainment.
Absolutely.
You brought up something that made me think where you were talking that the entertainment group or the community is really, it's got a lot of mystery to it. And unless you are involved in it, you really don't know, because again, my background was really the industrial. I worked for CM for 30 years before I actually got out and got into the entertainment. And I watched a load in, and I was fascinated with the load in. But what fascinated me about the whole thing is right before the they got finished and they were putting these again, can't think of the name, but curtains on the front, the drapes, on the front of the stage.
Right.
But before they actually put their skirt down on front of it, they were hanging hammocks underneath it.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, what are they doing? And they said, well, they actually, to watch a load in, they're wide open. They're crazy. I mean, they're sweating bullets. And, you know, they don't have a lot of time to build stages. So, and they don't have a lot of time to load out us. So they're underneath there so they can start tearing down before the crowd gets out. And I made a comment to somebody. I said, well, be my luck, I'd be the last one in there and I get stuck under the speakers, you know. And the guy says, oh no, that's where you want, because the sound goes like this and you don't get all that other stuff. But again, so much mystery that only the entertainment group knows about is what's fascinating to me. And so community, to pick up where Will left off, the community is everybody knows that, and then the COVID separated us. We all need to get back together and build those relationships again.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, COVID has been so weird for us as an entertainment industry, even more so than some of the other economic slowdowns that we've seen, you know, in the early 2000s after 9/11, and then, you know, in 2008, 2009, when we kind of went into that downturn again. Basically because even during those times, people still wanted to be entertained. So we were still able to get together. We were still able to gather. Well, you know, with COVID and the gathering restrictions, you know, it's really put a damper, well, on the whole entire entertainment industry as a whole. And what Dave was saying, because people don't necessarily know, they don't understand the entertainment industry. They don't know what goes into making a show. That most people don't understand the effects that it's had on this industry, for the manufacturers, for the gear providers, for the independent contractors that have lived their lives touring show to show. It's really been devastating for those of us that are within the industry.
Yeah. I had to do a jobs fair like thing for their, I guess it's a career day instead of a jobs fair, at our local elementary school here where I live. And I was talking to like second graders, and I can't believe, but they had warned me up front that those kids just love Kiss, you know, that the rock group Kiss.
Right.
I thought to myself, Kiss could probably be old enough to be their great grandfathers. But,
yeah, absolutely.
But it kind of hit me that when I went in there, I said, you know, I know that I told the class, I said, I know you guys really like Kiss. I said, but if you took the makeup off of those guys and you took that stage away from those guys and you took the flash and the smoke and the lights and the electricity and just give those boys some instruments and put them out in the parking lot, would they have the same following that they have today? And, you know, everybody's going to say, no, they don't. I said, well, that's what the entertainment market does. The entertainment is not the people on the stage. It's the people that's in the background that makes the people on the stage who they are.
Right.
You know, and the market never knows about those people.
So true. Well, Will, for those of us, or for our viewers that don't know you, just tell us a little bit about yourself. I'd love to hear when you went to University of Arizona, like what did you study, and kind of from there, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Right. Well, I got into the industry, kind of got into theater when I was in high school. I had to choose a fine arts credit. So it was like art and choir, drama, theater tech, band.
You say choir.
So kind of yeah, right. So sitting down with my parents, we said that, okay, I'm gonna do beginning theater tech in Sierra Vista, Arizona. It's a little small community down in the southeast corner. Fort Huachuca is kind of the main military installation that is attached to that little town. And our high school was really the main place where different shows would come in. We had a brand new high school, big giant performing arts center. So being in the theater tech department, we got to work those shows that came in and out. So that was really, as a sophomore in high school, my first experience, you know, dealing with shows that come in throughout the day, load in, do the show, and then tear down at night. And when we were lucky, we got to make like $5 an hour, you know, when we were off school time, to be able to work those shows. But that's really where my that's where my love for the industry kind of rooted at, was in that little community with that theater experience. So after high school, I was lucky enough to get on at the University of Arizona, studying theater production with lighting and technical direction was kind of my main emphasis there. Unfortunately, I was only there for about a year and a half. I ended up getting a call, as most people do. You get a call from a friend saying, "Hey, we've got an opportunity to come out and tour with Disney on Ice." So I ended up taking that. I came in as an electrician on the Spirit of Pocahontas back in, I guess it was late 1990s or early 97, I think is when that was. And that was really, for me, it was really kind of a dream come true. I mean, in high school, I was like, I want to go be a roadie. I want to do lights on the road somewhere. And then bam, I was doing it. I was running lights. I was going city to city. It's Feld Entertainment. Feld Entertainment does, have some interesting reputations in the industry, but it's a good place for young kids to really learn the ropes of what it is to be a touring technician. After I did Pocahontas, we went and built a new show. So I was on Little Mermaid, and I did Little Mermaid for 2 years. And then I guess in early May of 2000 is when I got a phone call from then CEO John James at Tomcat, asking if I wanted to come out and start a career with Tomcat. And I guess the rest is history.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, what all roles have you done at Tomcat?
Oh gosh, I started in sales. But I was only officially in sales for about 4 months. When I was hired to move into a project management position. But to be able to learn the product and to be able to, learn to speak to customers, we decided that let's start in sales. Let's learn the product, from motors to roofs to, the standard product trust. At the time, Tomcat was still making and selling our own our Parcan lighting fixtures, and we had a whole electrical department doing cables and hoist prep as well. So that was really where I kind of learned all the stuff. Then I moved upstairs into design and engineering, where I was project manager up until about 2008, where I took on the role of product support manager. After that, I went to design and engineering manager, and that's kind of where I was up until, I guess, I became COO in 2014, and that's kind of where I've maintained that role of COO here ever since. So for Tomcat, what is COO, right? What does that mean?
Well, I can tell you, but you don't want me to.
Oh. Well, what do you think it is, Dave? What do you think it is? Right.
It's I'm going to be nice. C-O-O-K. Cook.
There you
Will
go. I do enjoy.
Every time I go down there, they're preparing the next day. I say every time I go down there, Will is just a few miles down the road, maybe an hour and a half drive down there. But every time I go down to visit him, it's always the next day that he's got his big smoker, and he's got all this meat prepared to go on that smoker the next day.
The next day, your timing is so bad. But I enjoy getting the smoker out. We took the time to make one here in house. I can cook pretty comfortably up to about 70 people. So I like to do that every once in a while, maybe once a quarter, a couple times a year. And, it really is just my time, because the cost of it is cheaper than buying pizza for the shop,
Yeah.
So yeah. I can spend the time and get a couple of good cuts of meat, and we can have some fun with it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Sure.
We used to, when we did the schools in Midland, and I don't remember the name of the people you contracted to come in, but they'd come in and cook, and they were, I guess, it was world famous.
Yeah, that was a chuck wagon gang out of Odessa.
Yeah.
And they travel all over the world with that big semi truck doing chuck wagon style kind of dinners. So that was always a fun night. We tied that in with factory night, so factory tours and welding competitions, and at the time we did hoist competitions as well, and had the good chuck wagon dinner.
That's awesome. What kind of competitions?
Well, welding, the big one's the welding competition. So we give away swag for the student that can weld the best over a certain amount of time. And, the welders here on our welding line make aluminum welding look so easy. But, if you ever try and do it, you can make Swiss cheese of a piece of aluminum too pretty quick.
True. Very true.
It's a very humbling experience to someone who's never done it before.
I was trying it one time, and the person told me, he says, you look for the little glowing dot and you just push it out of the way. That sounds so easy.
So easy, yeah.
So are you at the facility right now? Like, what's been going on this year?
I am. I've been at the facility pretty much full time.
Okay.
We do our salespeople. Most of them have kind of gone remote and stayed at home. But me, I want to be here with the guys. So that's kind of always been my focus. If the guys are going to be in the shop, then I'm going to be here with them.
Yeah. That I know we've been hearing from some others that, I don't know if you know or not, we're doing these little mini-sodes. They're kind of like a 10-minute little video.
Sure.
And we've heard from some other guys at other companies that they're gonna do these little competitions. So if that's something that you want to video, we'd love to have it. It would be super fun. It's just kind of something little fun that we're gonna have. If you're interested in doing that,
that would be fun. That would be interesting to see.
Let me or Dave know. Yeah, Dave, have you heard some of the other things going around that people want to just do on a little mini-sode, a little competition type stuff?
One guy up in New York, and again, I'll be the first to tell you I'm not a rigger, but he's got his own way of rigging stuff. And he's wanting to do a competition that you race him, and he's going to do it his way, and you do it your way, and see who is the fastest. And the guy who does it is really good, and I mean, he knows his stuff, and he's just been doing it for so long. I guess he's kind of got it, the bugs worked out of it.
Sure.
But that's one thing that I have heard him do, that he wanted to challenge people to. I'm not going to say pull a point, but to rig something in.
Right.
Have somebody else see if they can't beat his time.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to start this whole thing out. Was there someone else, Dave, that was maybe going to do tying different, and I'm probably going to botch this, but just tying the different knots?
We've got people that, I don't know about a competition with tying knots. I do have several people.
We got to do that.
Sending videos in on how to tie knots.
Okay.
And,
we used to have a side competition during our hoist schools where we would see who could tie the fastest bowline. So, and that goes back. We used to do that with Rocky Paulson and Max Wilson when he was still here. He kind of loved doing that with some of the other guys and the students as well. That was always fun to see who could tie the fastest bowline knot.
I love it. So are you up for doing the welding competition video at some point?
Absolutely. You let us know what you want to do, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, it's just up to 10 minutes. It'd be super fun.
Truss engineering. Now, Will has been with me several times, and we've done schools together where he can, and I know he already got them existed because I've seen videos out there of him talking about how truss works when you load them up, why they're designed the way they're designed. I mean, he's on my radar.
Okay, on the radar. Yeah.
But Will does some really good teaching.
Well, I appreciate that, Dave. I've been doing it for so long that it kind of, and I'm sure you're the same way. You walk into a school and you're really not as much nervous about teaching the school. You're more excited to be able to meet some new people, learn some new faces, kind of grow your network, and then just kind of try and spread as much knowledge as you can to the people that are there. And I think as an industry, especially after what happened at Indianapolis, there was the state fair accident and things like that, that the industry has really been a sponge for knowledge and for education. And we've been lucky enough to be able to provide that to the industry.
And that's what I really like about the can. You know, and I'm a trainer as well, and I know what I charge. And a lot of people can't afford, you know, especially now, they can't afford,
Yeah.
you know, the training to kind of keep them going. So the concept behind the can is for us to be able to offer, you know, high quality, low costing training to everybody.
Sure.
Because again, the community is there. They need it. We got people, and you'll have to agree with this, that everybody in the entertainment market wants to give their knowledge away.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
so it's not like other things, you know, other industries, power is knowledge is power. Well, it's not that way with us. You know, we want to pass it on because, again, the bottom line is at the end of the day, we want to go home in a car, not a body bag. So that's what I like about the can, is the concept. The can is for the people. I wish I could patent sayings, because I would patent this, that we may own the company, but we don't own the community. The
Right.
community belongs to the people that's a part of the entertainment market.
Sure. Sure.
It's really coming up with a lot. But what you said, Will, is when you said, you know, it's about networking, we want to share the knowledge, and well, if you're on Dave's radar, then he's definitely going to be talking to you, but we should talk about it right now. No, but that's what it's all about. What's really cool is that that's what we want to do for companies, for individuals. We want to connect people.
Sure.
And so that's like one of our main goals, is connecting people, networking, allowing anybody that wants to teach or train to make money. And also, you know, for people that want to get into your industry and they want to learn to be able to take, you know, online virtual courses, that type of thing. And so, you know, stay tuned on that, but we could definitely, so that mini-sode that I talked to you about would be fun as like a little, it'd be fun as like a little introduction, you know, to your company, whether or not you want to get involved doing any of the teaching or not. We love it, but that would just be fun to do. And so we'll plan that.
If you've never seen those guys weld down there, Will said a minute ago, they make it look so easy. I swear, I got a 5-year-old grandson that by watching those guys weld, I believe my grandson could do just as, it is just so simple.
Oh.
But trust me, because I got involved in welding down there during the factory night. It is not easy.
Yes.
And
well, how old is he?
My grandson?
Dave? Yeah.
He's 5, but he can't weld. I mean, I'm using that as an example. The way that the welders make it look, anybody can do it. Yeah. But again, it's an art. You know, I know I'm kind of reflecting back on the can. You know, I don't know if it was you or Meredith come up with this. Do you consider yourself an artist? And they posted it out there, and a lot of them come back and says, no, I'm not an artist, I'm a rigger. But honestly, you are an artist. I mean, welders are an artist. You know, if you push the road case, and I know this sounds so stupid, but if you push a road case in and you miss your spot where you're supposed to put the road case, the world comes to an end. I mean, it's just, everything is so exact. So I don't care if you're pushing a broom or you are on stage singing, you are an artist. Mm-hmm. And that's what I like to try to get everybody to understand, is you are important. Somebody asked me the other day about, and I forget what it was. I said, we all need each other or something. It just come up, and this person said, well, I'm a janitor. What do you need me for? Well, again, Dave and David got together, and this come out of my mouth, and it kind of shocked me when it come out, and I thought, that's pretty good. But you take an artist, you take Rembrandt, somebody that paints. I mean, everybody knows him. I mean, he's a great, famous artist. Who's more important, the artist or the can of paint? You know, without the can of paint, what good is that guy?
Right.
So, I mean, everybody needs to realize they got value that they bring to the table. And back on the guys down there at Tomcat, you know, they may think that they're standing back there welding and nobody appreciates them. Nobody out in the field when they're doing a load in and they're putting up those truss, nobody thinks about it. But again, without those guys, where's the entertainment at?
I was just gonna say the art is how you perceive it. You know, I mean, when I was touring on the ice show, you know, the ice was a perfect canvas for the lighting guy to paint their story and to paint their picture and help the show. You know, the sound, you know, the sound guys, you know, they bring that emotion, they bring the power. You know, we used to do publicities on tour. Every week we would do different publicities, and you know, most people, you know, it meant waking up really early on a weekday that you didn't want to wake up early on because, you know, face it, we were all young 20-something-year-old kids that had probably been out partying or doing things that we shouldn't have been doing. But you know, we would get up early and we go to these publicities, and one of the coolest publicities that we would always, not always, but we would do is they would bring in kids, young kids mostly, that were deaf. And what they would all do is they would hand all these kids balloons. So as the you know, and they would, a couple of the performers would come out and they would do a little piece of the show or something. But with these kids with the balloons, is they could feel the music through the vibration of the balloon. It was always so cool to see the reaction on those kids' faces because they hadn't necessarily experienced that before. So, you know, it's just another way to connect, with the kids and how that art transforms and translates into real life. Well, it all kind of goes back to the community thing that we were talking about earlier, and how do you grow that community? And you grow the community by exposing it to more and more people, uh, and it's coming up with creative ways to make that community accessible to different types of people that probably don't have access to it on a regular basis. And that, you know, that's just was a very cool way that we were able to provide that for those kids.
That's amazing.
That is.
And speaking of that too, like how this year, you know, with COVID and everything, how has your community, even just personally, are you Zooming, or how are you like treating that community, you know, through your personal life as well?
Yeah, I mean, we do Skype meetings or Zoom meetings on a weekly, you know, we do them a couple times a week. We've kind of transitioned away from, you know, meeting all in our conference room. So we all do a Skype or Zoom in our office and go over the weekly production meeting stuff. You know, of course, we unfortunately did have to lay some folks off, as most people have in our industry. So, you know, the guys are spaced out anyway for the most part, because they're with welding. Everybody has kind of their own welding bay, and it's enclosed on 3 sides. So the spacing thing was kind of dealt with. You know, the offices with the people working from home, they're all, you know, so the offices are pretty much empty at the moment, and has been since about April. So it's kind of weird. You know, it's not like, you know, we had, gosh, I guess 61 people in the building, you know, in March. And, you know, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, probably about 12 people between the CAD office here and then the sales office right adjacent to us. And now we're down to 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, 4 to 5, depending on maybe 6, depending on the day of the week. So it's affected us, and it's affected us pretty hard. You know, having to tell somebody they can't come to work, but because of something that they've had no control over with has been extremely, extremely challenging. But thankfully, knock on wood, I think we're Tomcat, James Thomas, Area 4, we're kind of in a position now that, and we have been over the last several months, to be able to maintain, and we'll all get through it. We'll all get through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Will, you talked about, and you brought it up about Area 4. Kind of give the listeners kind of a real quick summary of what Area 4 is.
Well, Area 4 is kind of it is kind of difficult to explain, but Area 4 is kind of our umbrella over our whole entire, the different businesses that are within our company group. We didn't necessarily want to be called a group. That's why we came up with Area 4 Industries. So Area 4 Industries consist of the 4 manufacturers that are under that umbrella. So we have Tomcat, James Thomas, Milos, and Litech, which is another manufacturer in Italy. So those 4 companies all make up Area 4 Industries.
That's awesome. That's cool.
And the headquarters is basically Milos, right?
Yeah, the headquarters is Milos, outside of Prague in the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
And then Litech is located just outside of Venice, Italy. And we're here in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we also have a sales office and a stocking warehouse location in California.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
I will encourage people, the Knoxville is, people who know me know that I'm into bluegrass music, and they really need to Google the Knoxville Girl and listen to that song.
Yeah, I was wondering when that was going to come up. Jennifer, you probably don't want to Google that song.
Are you saying I don't?
No, you just stay away from that song if you want to.
Well, I'm going to. I mean, I just wrote it down.
I'll give you a little summary of it. It's a love affair that's went wrong.
Very, very wrong.
Yeah, very, very wrong.
Oh, wait a minute. You totally froze when you said that. I have no idea what you said.
That the summary of that song is that it was a love affair that went really, really wrong.
Oh boy. Okay.
They found the girlfriend floating in the Tennessee River.
Oh.
See,
yeah.
It's gone way dark, Dave.
Yeah. Why are you laughing, Dave?
Well, funny. He's not laughing at the song. He's laughing at the way that I introduced the song to them at a motor school one time.
Oh my God.
But back on the Will being on the radar, I've got him scheduled. I just got to figure out when Florida and Tennessee plays football, and we've got a special meeting place on the 50-yard line that I'm going to go down and talk to Will about doing some work for us.
Right.
That sounds nice.
Hey, Tomcat, you guys still have season tickets?
No, we do not. We never had. We've had some. We have people that has season tickets, but we don't as a company.
Yeah. But Will is probably the biggest University of Tennessee volunteer football fan. And believe it or not,
I don't know if I'd say that, but I would say it's grown on me since living here. It's so different than anything else. I mean, I compare it to when I went to school and was going to football games at the University of Arizona, and it's not even close. The way that the fans react to the team and the different traditions and pregame and during the game, it's wild.
So are you one of those guys, Will, that paints your face like?
No, none of that. But I will wear an orange shirt on Fridays. Fridays before the games. I will. The tailgating is fun. Before the game and doing that. So it's a good time. It's good fun to get into it, and it's been rough over the last couple of years, but this year they tend to be doing all right so far. So we'll see how the season goes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah, they're undefeated so far, ain't they?
They are 2 games, so
Yeah.
hopefully but we play Georgia next, so that'll be a tough game.
Yeah. Down there or
It's in Athens.
Yeah.
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 So that'll be a tough one.
Yeah. But you got to admit they're doing good. I mean,
They are. They look a lot better than they have in years past. So
what was it, 3 or 4 years ago? They had what I thought was the best team around, and the coach just kind of fell through, I think. But now they got a good coach. He's building it.
It's amazing. You look back at some of those teams with the talent that was on those teams that are in the NFL now, making. Being significant players, you're like, golly, why couldn't we have used that, when they were still here? I mean, look at Alvin Kamara and just some of the things that he's been able to do. It's like, wow, we had him for a couple of years and just couldn't get it rolling.
You look at the legend though, Peyton Manning.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But that movie, The Blind Side. Well, that mama says, you can go to University of Tennessee, but I ain't wearing that god off orange.
Right. My dad says that same thing down in Florida. He's not a Florida fan, but he still is like, I just can't bring myself to wearing the orange.
But I didn't
flood your closet with orange clothing.
I really didn't like. Well, it's not that I didn't like the University of Tennessee. I just didn't follow them. And a good friend of mine's son actually got a scholarship, and he went to UT, and he played for UT. And that was maybe 7 years ago. And from then on, I got to watching them because they were playing.
Right.
And so I kind of stuck with, I hide behind the bleachers when I watch University of Tennessee play.
No, he was an offensive lineman, wasn't he?
He was an offensive lineman.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
6'8". I thought his daddy was big, but Coleman's a monster.
Right.
I got to tell you this, and I know this is way off subject, but we were in a room. His daddy was in there with us. It was me and 2 or 3 others, and all of a sudden the lights went out. And I looked up, and Coleman come in through the door. And when he come through the door, he filled the door up and shut the lights out. But Coleman's about 6'8", about 380. He's a monster.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
It's amazing how cartoonishly large these players are, not just in football, but basketball, and that you just don't understand the scale of it when you see it on TV.
Yep.
No, it's kind of crazy that someone can be over 7 feet tall, or some of those basketball players.
In fact, you take somebody that's 300 pounds that can be moved like within a blink of an eye. They snap the ball, and me, I'd have to, oh mercy, when I try to see these boards come off the ground in a heartbeat.
Right.
It's so great. Well, I'm glad that at least, people are getting to. Are you able to? You're going live right now to the games, because I know it's
the University of Tennessee. Of course, it's different everywhere. Depending on what your situations are, but for the most part in the SEC, those colleges are all open to about 20%, I should say. So I think we ended up having about 16 to 18,000 at the game this last weekend. So
okay.
And from what I saw on TV, I think most people were pretty good with wearing the masks and staying somewhat socially distanced. Although I know that's hard with a bunch of 18 to 20-year-old kids in a student section, but
right.
I think they did pretty well. I will throw Georgia under the bus. They did not do well. From some of the shots of their game, they were not socially distanced or wearing masks or anything like that, which is too bad. But
Tennessee's got a massive following. I mean, they before the COVID hit, was their stadium like 104,000 people?
Just over 104. Yeah.
And it's there for years. It was sold out every game.
Yeah.
So even, and like I say, I'm about an hour and a half away. Even when Tennessee would play at home, it basically shut hotels down because people were, they were coming.
Yeah.
And And you can't help but feel the energy if you walk. If you're not going in there and you're just driving by or walking by the stadium, and it's going, you can feel the electricity in the air. You know.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the coolest game day things that I like to do is go watch the Ball Navy. That's the football stadium is right next to the river, right next to the Tennessee River. So the Vol Navy is what they call all the people that drive in their boats and park right outside the stadium along the pier. And there are hundreds of boats, and these boats are gigantic. It's amazing what you see on the Tennessee River as far as boats. I mean, these are like ocean 200-foot plus ocean yachts that
Wow.
come up to the game. It's unbelievable.
Wait, they're watching the game from those boats?
They'll tailgate and party like the whole week leading up to the game.
Oh, okay.
Now, but during a regular, quote unquote, regular football season, they would all be there before the games. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I'm not a big sports fan. I mean, I hope nobody from Texas or Austin watches this, but I graduated from UT, but I only went there for like 2 years.
Right.
Yeah, you can't talk about not being, being from UT and not being a sports fan or whatever. But yeah, they're huge. Oh man, they're big ones here.
When I first moved to Midland, when I started to work from Tomcat, West Texas football, high school football was kind of known as being, the Friday Night Lights thing was all popular, but the Midland Lee Rebels had a running back, was Cedric Benson, my first 2 years in Midland. Cedric Benson was amazing. He went on to the University of Texas and was, matching records with Ricky Williams, and then went off to play with the Cincinnati Bengals. But watching him in high school it was a man among men. It was unbelievable watching those teams play. And I'll say college football is that rules the roost here in this area, but in West Texas it's really high school football. It's unbelievable. The high school football stadium in Midland seats at close to 30,000 people, and I mean it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's kind of what they live for out there, because
sure.
As we know, there's just not a lot going on out there. So. But talk about like a community there. All of the sports communities. I know it's just been so nutty. Like some of them playing with no audience, nobody in the whole entire stadium.
No fans, I know.
So surreal.
My sister still lives in Arizona, and her husband works on a high school football coaching staff, and they were just able to start practicing this last week because they've been shut down from the state. So it's and it's been weird there too, because some cities and some areas of the city have been able to practice while some of them haven't, and it's just I think that's for them. It's just been so frustrating because it hasn't necessarily been equal across the board. And I think you see that frustration not just in their community, but you see the frustration kind of all over the place nationally with COVID and the unknowing and not really knowing how to respond. And it's just led to a lot of craziness.
The whole world. It's anyway, I know it's just, but we're so excited. I mean, I think it's like, for me, like so many people, I think it's brought a lot of people closer together.
Right.
People that, families that never talk, or now having Sunday dinners every night, or my mom and I rarely even talk on the phone anymore. We video chat. It's like, what's talking on the phone? I mean, I try and video chat with as many people as possible, because it's like, why not? Why not video chat? So
I think that it has been good in some ways, and other ways it's been really challenging.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially from when you talk about a family unit, right? I've got two small boys that are 11 and 12. So for them, when school closed last year in the middle of March, and it all went virtual, the schools, they were totally unprepared, and it's nothing that nothing that they did wrong, but they were doing the school. All of it was kind of, they would send you links for YouTube videos and then send packets of homework that were 30 plus pages of homework that they wanted you to, it was like homework for the whole week for the kids. And it was just really difficult. Then they came out and said, oh, you know, the grades aren't going to count for the fourth quarter. We're just going to go 1 through 3. So once you told the kids that the grades didn't count, you know, right? So trying to get them to log on and do, you know, even if they did do a Zoom meeting, it was like pulling teeth to try and get them to get on and do it. So it's been very difficult. So, you know, we made the decision as a family that when school started back up, that they would both go back in person. And I know, you know, everybody makes their own decisions, and that's to do that as a family. But it's really important for us to get the boys back in that community, because the school is a community in itself.
There's community everywhere.
You know,
well, how's that going?
You know, it's going well. The elementary school is, you know, I've got one in elementary school and one in middle school. You know, I take Kobe, my youngest, I take him to school every morning, and you know, they take his temperature before he gets out of the car. They have to wear their masks all day long. I think overall Knox County is about 30% virtual as far as the school system.
Okay.
So they've spaced things out a little bit more because kids have been gone. My oldest in middle school, we've gotten, I think, 2 notifications that someone within the school that haven't said teacher or student has, you know, been tested positive, but, you know, they said that they've done the contact tracing. We've never been contacted, but you know, I think 2 cases isn't, you know, in the big scheme of things, 2 cases isn't that bad. Knox County, knock on wood, has, you know, we've never really had a huge spike here. You know, it seems to be somewhat flat over the last couple of months. Yes, we have cases going up, but we also have cases going down. So it just kind of, I think it just kind of depends on the reporting day. But, you know, I think, you know, we're going to have cases. You're going to have cases up until, you know, the thing goes away, whether it's from a vaccine or something, and you just have to manage it. You know.
Well, do you see the market recovering from this? Do you see us ever getting back to what we used to?
I was just about to go into that. You know, I think the market right now is, for our industry, our market and our industry is really starving for someone to be first. You know, we've seen with sports, we've seen the teams say, okay, you can have capacity at a stadium. We've seen that in football. We've seen that in NASCAR and some of the races that have been on TV. And just last week, Feld Entertainment announced that they were starting to put together go back into rehearsals for a Disney on Ice show. And one Disney on Ice show, and I think one Monster Jam tour that is scheduled to go out in November in arenas and in stadiums. Of course, it's going to be, you know, I think reduced capacity and things like that. But, you know, Jim Digby was quoted in that article, you know, we need, somebody had to take the risk to go first. And when you take that risk, of course, you're opening yourself up to that risk of being the first one to do it. But we also need to learn the lessons of what does work and maybe what doesn't work when somebody does that. Because as long as we can keep learning and keep kind of adjusting as an industry, then we can start getting people back and, you know, getting people back to work and getting our industry back to where it was, you know, pre-COVID. If that's the term.
Do you think it
is now?
Do you think we'll get back to what it was before we started, or you think it's changed to the point that we've got so much fear in us now that?
No, I don't think so. I think it's going to get back to the point we were before, because that goes back to what I said earlier, is people want to be entertained. People want to be happy. So I think once we get the fear of COVID away, then I think it will get back to where it was before, because people do want to be happy. They do want to go see shows. They do want to be entertained. I think that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's exciting. I'm gonna, do you have, if I email you, I'd love to have that article. Do you still have that?
It was in I can send it to you. It was in the Tampa Bay Times last week.
Okay, I'll find it then. Yeah. That sounds great. Yeah, that's the, do you like our Facebook page?
I do.
yet?
I do.
Okay,
Yeah.
because we're really, really trying to post more on that. So that'll be great to post on there. And then on our, once we get our platform going, which is so super cool. We have different, categories of, all kinds of different categories. So we're trying to load that as well, with important articles like that, for the industry. But I'll find that today and post it today or tomorrow. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, is there anything, and I'm not ending our CAN TV session, but before we do, was there anything that you wanted to talk today that we haven't talked about yet?
Oh gosh, yeah, we've hit on just about it. We've hit on a lot of stuff over the last,
It's been
I don't
fun.
know, 40 minutes or so. It's been a fun time. I've always enjoyed, being with Dave, and I know, Dave and Meredith, and I've known them for both for a long time. So I enjoy dealing with both of them. And Jennifer, it's been a real pleasure meeting and chatting with you too. I think trying to keep everybody positive. Yes, this is a downturn. This is a bad thing for us in the entertainment industry, but it's not going to be permanent. I truly believe that we're going to get over this. We're going to get over this as an industry, and people are going to get back to being entertained, and the artists that Dave talked about before, the technicians, the performers, everybody that takes to put a show together is all going to get back, and that'll be fun when we can all get back together and do what we all love to do.
Mhm.
I believe it too. I believe it too eventually. Yeah, it's exciting too to think, maybe there's going to be, we don't even know like what new opportunities might be coming up in the entertainment industry. You just never know. Like,
Yeah.
because it's,
No,
who knows?
I've always said the entertainment industry changes so fast in all aspects. Basically, you have to be ready to adapt with it.
Yeah.
And if you're not, then it don't wait on you. I mean, it just goes on without you.
Yeah.
No, there may be companies right now, like we're doing with the CAN, that are like creating something new, which is exciting. It's really exciting. I know we're super excited about this, and we've got a lot to do before we can launch. But we're really excited about that.
I really think, and maybe my glass is too close to being full instead of half full, but I think when it gets up and running, it's going to be as big as Amazon, because we've got stuff for everything in it. We've got life coaches, we've got chat rooms, we've got job boards, we got training, we got training on everything, not just motors, not just truss. How to sew a button on. I mean, we got people that's giving. So once you come in there, I don't care if it's, and I've even said this, and they laugh at me for saying this. I'm not going to guarantee you can't find a girlfriend in there, because
You never know.
I mean, you never know. Because again, when they were together on tours and stuff, they had that family bonding.
Right.
And then overnight, it got turned off.
Yeah.
So people are just, here's a hillbilly term, chomping at the bits to get back with to get back with people.
Yeah.
And that's the format that the CAN was kind of established on.
Yeah, and the cool part about the community aspect of it is it's a social network.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's global, and so you can, within the membership community, you can talk to anybody. It's so cool that you have, your profiles, and you can post articles. You can, if your company is going to be hiring,
Sure.
Dave talked about that job board. If there's people that are interested in coming on board, that's cool. And you can, there's a feature on it where you can search by geographic location.
Right.
Which is really, as individuals, but as companies as well. And I think as people can start coming together in person, it's going to be fun to be able to find new people, in your area. And we have an app that's going to be
Oh, cool. Yeah.
The app is so cool. We're really fortunate to be using a software, an existing software as a service. So we didn't have to spend, $100,000 creating this really cool platform. But it comes with an app, and it's super exciting. So the whole community aspect of it is, I think, what makes it so different from anything else. And there's really nothing like it in the world. I mean, when Dave and Meredith,
We're not really inventing the wheel. All this stuff already exists, but 99% of the people probably don't know where to find it.
Right.
And that's what the CAN does, is it brings us all in. And I've said this before, if I'm 60 years old, and I've always been the guy that's a high rigger, pulling up those 2-ton motors with up in the air. And the COVID has made me fat and lazy, so I decided I wanted to do something else, but I really don't know. So I can get into the CAN and look what's out there. Oh, I think I can sew a button on. So I mean, it's just the possibilities that comes out of it, I think, is endless.
Yeah, it's exciting.
And then people like you that show some interest in it, showing the alignment with us, that goes a long ways up there.
Yeah, we appreciate you so much for doing this CAN TV session.
Oh, no problem. It's been fun. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you so much, and so have we. And I cannot wait. How many welders do you have right there that we could do the competition?
Well, right now we've got, I think, 10.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, whenever you want to do it, we'll sort it out.
Create some little project. This is so exciting. Well, we just want fun little stuff like that on here too. Just random fun stuff. So I'll get in touch with you about doing something fun.
I have 2 questions for you before we quit.
All right, fire away.
First one is, and it's really for me.
Uh-oh.
How long does it take to build a 10-foot stick of truss from unloading it from the truck?
From unloading it from the truck, from a bundle of raw material up into a packaged, ready to go out the door product, you're looking at about 4 hours.
So, and I asked that as kind of a hidden question, is because trusses get abused just like motors get abused. The people don't know the back. They just see it though. They don't know how much effort and engineering and stuff that went along with it.
Sure.
So
yeah, absolutely. Transportation is always a thing that we harp on. Is how do you move a piece of truss? Well, you look at it and you think it's a piece of metal of some sort, that it's a durable thing, but it's really not when it comes.
Drag it across the floor, don't you?
Yeah, drag it across the floor, just shove it back, leave it in the back of a pickup truck, let it bang around and dent up. And I always make the joke that FedEx owns more truss than we do.
There you go.
I bet it's tenfold because the amount of freight damage claims by forklift drivers running into it and knocking out parts and pieces because they're just moving pallets from point A to point B. They don't care necessarily. They're just doing their job. So yeah, it's it's an interesting. The truss is kind of a commodity. It's an expensive commodity, but it's a commodity for our industry.
Yeah. Well, I've said this, and Will probably don't know that I did this, but whenever I am teaching a class, I learn really as much from the class, from them teaching me as me teaching them. Will made a comment one time, and it always stuck on with me, so I kind of integrate it into my training now. And Will says that they inspect a piece of truss after it's built. But then it goes in the warehouse, and before they ship it, they look at it again because they don't know really what happened between the last time that they saw it. And that's kind of the way I feel. And, everybody wants to be safe because you don't know if I work for Will and I drive a fork truck and I was back there in the warehouse and I was texting and driving the fork truck too. And I run into the pile of truss and it knocks them over. And you think I'm gonna go tell Will that I turned his truss over, or am I going to just stack them up and keep my mouth shut? So again, I'm not saying that they do that, but you don't know. So if you want to be safe, you gotta check it out. So that's always hit home with me is all the inspection processes that manufacturers has to ensure that is safe.
Yeah, you certainly want to, I say it's a commodity, but it's not like a piece of a roll of gaff tape or a roll of electrical tape or something like that you can just throw in a drawer and forget about until the next time you need it. It really is, you really do. You have people's lives and livelihood, at risk when you're using the equipment, not just from the truss, but the chain hoist and the rigging equipment that you're using to hang and connect everything together. I mean, it really is. You really have to consider the thing a full system when you're looking at it, and make sure your safety considers all of that working together and how everything does or doesn't work together.
Well, I got one more question for you, Will, and that is some words of encouragement for the next generation. If you was on the street and somebody recognizes you and they walk up and said, well, there's Mr. Will Todd, I'm going to ask you, Will, I'm thinking about changing careers. I'm thinking about getting into the entertainment market. What kind of advice have you got for me?
Well, I think, are you asking as more of a younger person or an older person, or does it really matter?
Right now, I'm a dreaming, and I'm 18 years old.
All right, so 18 years old, what I would probably say is, if you're still in high school, then to get involved in your technical theater program in school. There's a lot that can be learned with just doing even your school plays and musicals every year. You can really build that. You can really build that love for the entertainment industry, the love for theater. If you're getting into college, look at the college you go to, see if they have a drama department, see if they have a technical theater department that you can get involved with and start studying. Or get in touch, start working with your local community theaters. A lot of them, get in touch, see if they have an IATSE local in the town you work in. Shows that come into town are always looking for help. Whether it be unloading trucks, pushing carts, working on the electrical sound crews, working on the rigging crews. If you get to a point where you're able to start working out with that, that's really the hands-on is really the best thing you can do. Get involved, get out there, talk to your labor providers, whether it's IATSE or whatever other labor provider that's in your town that are doing these types of things. That's really the best you can do. Get into it, start doing the work, and you never know where it could go.
Absolutely.
You could be CEO of Tomcat, COO of Tomcat one of these days. You never
know. No, yeah, absolutely.
Well, Will, I appreciate this for you taking your time. I know you guys are busy because I come down there a lot, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to spend with us. I know it's been great for the people who's going to be watching this. I mean, it's just, it shows a lot of stuff. It shows that you don't have to be a stuffy executive 3-piece suit guy to be successful.
You guys are lucky. I put on a button-up shirt for you guys for the day.
Well, thank you. No, it was really nice. It was really nice.
It was nice chatting with you guys as well. And anytime you guys want to chat, get together, whatever we can do as Tomcat James Thomas Area 4, let us know, and we'll do whatever we can do.
Get us some football tickets, and I'll be down to talk about episodes for the canteen.
Those are like Tennessee football is like gold tickets anyway, but right now it's even more so.
That's right. That's right. Well, again, I appreciate you taking your time, and I really have enjoyed this.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Dave, and thank you, Jennifer. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks so much, Will.
Hey,
have a great day. Thank you.
Yeah.